Good afternoon. Welcome to Kent City Council Committee of the Whole for Tuesday, June 3, 2025. First up, we have roll call. Melissa.
Council President Kaur,
Here.
Councilmember Boyce,
Here.
Councilmember Boyd,
Here.
Councilmember Fincher,
Here.
Councilmember Larmer,
Here.
Councilmember Michaud,
Here.
and Councilmember Troutner.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Next up, agenda approval. Any changes to the agenda?
Nope.
None. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you so much. All right. Approval of minutes for May 20, 2025.
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you so much. Then we have payment of bills, and we received that in our email.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you so much. All right, we have Candace here with the interagency agreement with Washington Traffic Safety Commission to accept funds for DUI courts. Welcome.
Hi. Hello, everyone. I am Candace Enders. I'm the court administrator for the municipal court. Was previously Margaret. Now you get to see me. Before you is our Washington Traffic Safety Commission grant for the cycle that runs from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026 for our DUI court. Our DUI court team identifies, supports, and supervises high-risk DUI offenders. DUI court started in 2017, and we have worked closely with the Safety Commission since our inception. The grant is for $175,000, which is the same as our last grant cycle, was the same amount. That covers the expenditures such as drug and alcohol urinalysis collection and testing, substance use disorder assessments, treatment and counseling, clean and sober housing, probation staff, interpreter costs, and home monitoring, team training, and education. And I also have our probation supervisor, Janine Johnstone. She manages the grant, so if you have any questions, please be free to ask.
All right, thank you, Candace. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Fincher.
I'd just like to encourage all of my fellow council members to go over and observe the DUI court. First of all, you'll need to sign some paperwork, but after that, you're in for a real treat. Good job over there.
And thank you for coming to.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Fincher. Any other comments? All right, if none, I'll make a motion. I move to accept grant funds in the amount of $175,000 from the Washington Traffic Safety Commission to support the DUI court, amend the budget, authorize expenditures of funds, and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents, subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the court administrator and city attorney.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Candace. Thank you for coming. All right, next up, we have Christina Shook with introduction of ordinance number 4516 for non-exclusive 10-year franchise with Hyperfiber of Washington, LLC. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Christina Shook. I'm the Deputy City Attorney. I'm here this afternoon to introduce to you another fiber franchise. This time it's with Hyperfiber. So Hyperfiber is a fiber-to-the-home internet provider, and they plan to provide residential internet service throughout Kent. City staff has been working with Hyperfiber to negotiate the terms of the franchise, and they're almost identical to the previous fiber franchise you've seen. And the reason for that is federal law requires the city to treat these providers similarly, and which is why the provisions do not vary. Specifically, you'll see this is a 10-year non-exclusive franchise that authorizes them to install and maintain its facilities throughout the right-of-way under certain provisions. So, for example, they have to restore the right-of-way after they install. They have to repair any damage that they cause or pay for it. They need to move their facilities to accommodate road projects, and they have to obtain permits and bonds for their work. So fiber franchises like this are governed by federal law and also state law, and state law does not allow us to charge a franchise fee for use of the right-of-way, and also requires a specific procedure. That means that you have to look at the franchise for 2 meetings. So you'll see this on consent calendar tonight as an introduction, and then you'll see it again on June 17th for adoption. Do you have any questions for me?
Councilmember Boyce.
Thank you, Madam President. I understand we may get quite a few of these coming our way. Do they have a certain footprint? I mean, let's say the Easy Fiber go out here and put their stuff beneath the ground, and the Piper, can they come side by side, or how do they work that? Just curious.
What providers have told us is that's a business decision. So they would, sometimes they would decide not to what they call overbuild, which means if there's already a provider, they may not deploy. That's not certain. I guess that would be on their business plan, but that's general information we've heard from several different providers now.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you so much.
That is interesting. Any other comments or questions? All right, if not, I will make a motion. I move to introduce ordinance number 4516 at the June 3, 2025 City Council meeting, which, if later adopted by Council, would grant a non-exclusive 10-year franchise to Hyperfiber of Washington, LLC, for the installation of a fiber optic network, subject to final franchise terms and conditions acceptable to the city attorney.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be seeing a few more of these. All right, next up, we have Parks. Councilmember Michaud.
Thank you so much, Madam President. We have 5 items tonight. Up first, we have Marina Hanson here to talk about the SCIP work plan and budget.
Good afternoon. Obviously, I am not Claire, but I agreed to stand in for her because she's making a lot of rounds to the various cities who participate in SCIP. And since this one is usually pretty quick, I offered to help out. So, just as a reminder, I know we were just here talking about the Housing Capital Fund, but you also approve SCIP's annual work plan and operating budget each year. That is something that is written into the ordinance. So just as a reminder, there are 12 member jurisdictions in South King County as well as King County, and we work together primarily on issues related to affordable housing, whether that's funding affordable housing or preserving or working on policies related to it. The work plan goes through a very robust process with the executive board primarily, but also the staff work group and the advisory committee as part of SCIP. So they do surveys, they do work groups, they meet in person to ultimately develop and vote on the final draft, which is before you, and that occurred on May 16th. The work plan goals don't change too much from year to year, but includes, as I already mentioned, the funding and preservation of affordable housing, developing policies related to that. Also, just as serving as an advocate for South King County in general, it's really helpful for us to have a platform where we're working together on some of these issues. And then, of course, always the operations and administrative side. The total operating budget is just over $500,000. Over half of that is salary and benefits. You have the budget in your packet, so I don't want to go through it item by item. There are a few things that are more this year expense-wise related to the Affordable Housing Inventory Dashboard. We continue to spend down the cost savings from prior years, and then we have that 15% increase in member contributions each year that we're almost done with that will end next year. So each year we go up 15%, but then we will plateau. The cities are charged for their membership at SCIP based on population, so this just kind of shows you how we get to the contribution. Kent is obviously one of the larger cities in South King County, so we are one of the higher contributors. And really that's all I have other than what you can see in the work plan itself. It's a little more specific in there, but it's pretty much the same year to year. There's not a ton of difference. So if you have questions, I'm happy to help answer.
Any questions for Marina?
And Mayor Ralph is still on the executive board, so she's very much part of this process, if that helps.
All right. No questions?
Nope.
Okay. All right. I will read the motion. I move to approve the 2026 South King Housing and Homelessness Partners Work Plan and Operating Budget as adopted by the SCIP Executive Board on May 16, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you so much, Marina. All right, up next we have Brian Higgins here to talk about a property purchase at Clark Lake.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Brian Higgins. I'm the Parks Capital Project Manager with the Parks Department. Here to talk about acquisition of Clark Lake Park. So just for you guys' reference, everything in green is owned by the city. So we have two remaining parcels that are not currently in city ownership. So the one we're talking about tonight is the one that's highlighted with the arrow pointed to it here. And then we don't own this one other small little parcel on 240th. It's about a 12,000 square foot parcel. So our goal here is to eventually own the totality of Clark Lake Park. So this is just kind of one of our final steps in that process. Here's a little view of the ground of where this parcel is, kind of looking from the park back towards it. So I'll give you a little history on this parcel. So this property was originally purchased as part of an interlocal agreement between the City of Kent and the King County Roads Department. This agreement dates to 1996. So sometime in the late 90s, they went to widen Southeast 240th, and when that project happened, property was taken from the park and incorporated into the road as well as the storm drainage system there. So when that happened, of course, we generally purchase replacement property for property that's lost. So according to this joint agreement with King County Roads, the city and the county were supposed to split the cost of property acquisitions. And at the end of the project, the city was to pay the county for half of the acquisition costs. Well, Fast forward to where we are right now, and that transfer and that payment never happened. So I've been kind of working on this for the past couple of years with King County Roads to kind of get to the point where we are today. So basically, the city's been managing this parcel as part of the park since that time. And so King County Roads is ready to make the transfer now, and the total cost to the city is $114,350, which is half of the original purchase price of this piece of property. And then just recently, I applied for a King County Conservation Futures Grant to help pay for some of this acquisition cost. And I'm happy to answer any questions on this acquisition if you have them.
Thank you for your work on this, Brian. Appreciate getting that property back since we're taking care of it all this time. Any questions for Brian? Okay, I will read the motion. I move to authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents to purchase a parcel of land at Clark Lake Park from King County for $114,350, subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the Parks Director and City Attorney.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you so much, Brian. All right, now we have Tona Cow up for 2 items. First up, Senior Center security cameras and access control.
Good afternoon, Council President Kaur. Nice to meet you, and council members again. Tonight I'll be talking about 2 different items. The first item I wanted to go over was the Senior Center security cameras and access control agreement with Evergreen Technologies. The scope of work will include installing 17 cameras and 10 doors with badge readers, electric strike, and proper door hardware at the Senior Center. Additionally, this project will upgrade the existing surveillance camera system and implement a new access control system using Verkada surveillance and access control technology. The current camera system using Verkada, the life ended its life cycle and requires replacement. New security camera and access control systems will offer clearer footage, enhance security, and reduce risks. The cost for the equipment and installation shall not exceed $144,281.55.
Any questions about this one? Okay, I will read the motion. I move to authorize the mayor to sign the public works agreement with Evergreen Technologies Incorporated for work at the Kent Senior Center, subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the Parks Director and City Attorney.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Okay.
Thank you. The second item I have is the purchase of office furniture and equipment through the cooperative purchasing agreement between Omnia Partners and the Han Company. Omnia Partners Public Agencies is a cooperative purchasing organization for public sector procurement. Through the purchasing cooperative, this will actually help us. It'll actually be advantageous for the city to purchase through a cooperative, as the purchasing power of the cooperative allows the lead agency to negotiate more favorable terms. In addition, purchase through a purchasing cooperative are exempt from competitive bid requirements. And in June of 2022, City Council authorized Parks Facilities to purchase office furniture and equipment through the Han Company using Omnia. However, that agreement has since expired and been replaced by a new agreement with the same furniture vendor and the same lead agency. So to continue to utilize the pricing and efficiency of this type of agreement, I request that council authorize future purchases for office furniture, equipment, installation services through the Han Company.
Okay.
And this new cooperative agreement is currently in effect from December 17th, 2024 through December 31st, 2027, and may be extended for 2 additional years beyond the date for a maximum possible contract term of December 31st, 2029.
Any questions? Okay. I will read the motion. I move to authorize the purchase of office furniture and equipment through the cooperative purchasing agreement entered into between the Han Company LLC and Region 4 Education Service Center through Omnia Partners, provided that all purchases are within established budgets and during the term of the cooperative agreement.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank
Motion
you.
passes. Thank you. Okay, up next, we have Garen here to talk about lights at Kent Memorial Ball Field.
All right. Good afternoon, Council President and council members. It's great to see you again. This afternoon, I have for your consideration an agreement for the replacement of ball field lights at Art Wright Field at Kent Memorial Park. These field lighting fixtures were last completely replaced in the late 1990s. Since then, there have been repairs, bulb replacement, and maintenance occurring every 3 to 5 years to keep the system functioning, but as a system, I think it's lived its useful life for us. This need to replace is also an opportunity to upgrade to LED fixtures, which will achieve some amount of energy savings and offer the ability to tune the light patterns to minimize the light wash or light pollution, which we always try to do to be kind to our neighbors as much as possible. This project will also update the area lighting that's on the field poles already to LED fixtures, which we also improve the general area lighting around the ball field itself. And I mean, that's all the infrastructure piece, but actually having the ability of the lighting in general really helps support the program use, the local teams and other park users that come to enjoy Camp Memorial Park and make it one of our more popular locations. So if you have any questions.
Any questions for Garen? Go ahead, Councilmember Boyd.
Yes, I got a question. I'm looking at this, and it says that this agreement was extended earlier this year, which runs through February 28th through 2026 in June of 2024. I'm confused. So are we adding on to this agreement or what? I mean, is this a different agreement? Am I reading this wrong? It says right here, it runs through February 28th, and then it says here for 2026. So we haven't reached 2026, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, for the lighting at the middle school.
Looks like we're phoning in a friend. It might be a typo or something.
I think what it is that this agreement was used for a different purchase, and so it's coming before you for a new purchase on a different project, and given the dollar amount involved, I believe that's why it's coming back to you.
There is mention of Canyon Ridge on there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, thanks for that.
Thanks
for the clarification. Thank you.
Are you good, Councilmember Boyd? Okay, any other questions? Okay, this is exciting. I heard a lot of shocks about how old this lighting is, so yeah, I think we're excited. All right. I move to authorize the Parks Department to contract for ball field lighting through a cooperative purchasing agreement between the King County Directors Association and Musco Sports Lighting, LLC, and for the mayor to sign all necessary documents subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the Parks Director and City Attorney.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you so much, Garen.
Thank you, Garen.
Back to you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Show. We have Public Safety with Councilmember Boyce.
Thank you, Madam President. So we have Project Be Free, which we are very familiar with, and look forward to hearing what Sergeant Landon Myers is going to show us today.
Thank you, Council President and council members. I'm back before you again with our co-responder program, Project Be Free, which the police department is using with our community partners to directly address the underlying conditions of domestic violence in our community. Our current contract is set to end on June 30th, so coming before you with a new contract to begin July 1st and run through December of 26. Yes, sorry, December of 26. So contract is available for the mayor's signature, and if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Sergeant Meyer. Any question, team? I think we all familiar with this is your great program. Okay, seeing I'm going to read the motion here. I move to authorize the mayor to sign a professional service agreement with Project Be Free for domestic violence co-responder service, subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the police chief, to the police chief, and the city attorney. Motion second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Well, the record show unanimous pass. Thank you, Sergeant Meyer.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
You read it? Say what? I know, it threw me off, yeah. I look at it twice.
All right, thank you.
It's not me,
Councilmember Boyce. All right, Public Works, we have Councilmember Fincher.
Thank you, Council President. We're going to hear from Natasha Slater, and it's that NPDES subject again, so we're going to hear about some software support because of the changes.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Natisha Slater, and I'm here to talk about NPDES program management software. So a little background on NPDES. The National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit is required by the Clean Water Act. It's overseen by the EPA federally and the Department of Ecology in Washington. And the City of Kent is required to acquire NPDES coverage to discharge water from the public drainage system into waters of the state, such as rivers, creeks, and streams. MS4 stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, but just think of the MS4 as the public drainage system, and I'm only giving you this acronym because it will be kind of relevant later. NPDES permit requires Kent to develop and implement programs and policies to protect waters of the state from pollutant discharges, and we have 9 programs under NPDES that we must submit an annual report on to the Department of Ecology to detail our compliance efforts. So I won't go over all of those programs, but the ones that are relevant today are our inspection programs. So we use PRISM, our current database, to track NPDES inspection programs, including the illicit discharge detection and elimination, which is IDDE, temporary erosion and sediment control, or TESC, our source control business inspection program, private operations and maintenance inspections, and fats, oils, and grease inspections. All of these inspections are currently managed in PRISM, which is an Access database from the late 90s, in-house database that is very outdated, as you can see by looking at it. Using it is just it's as difficult and outdated as it looks. So PRISM is an end-of-life system and we are seeking to replace this software with something that will support enterprise system integrations. So our current inspection workflow using PRISM in 2025, we are printing out paper site plans for inspection sites, going out into the field, writing our inspections on the paper site plans, coming back into the office and entering them into PRISM, and then using PRISM to generate enforcement letters and send them to property managers. So as you would imagine, that's a little bit outdated. In addition to this process being very inefficient, PRISM is reliant on systems that are no longer supported, including Thinfinity, Office 2013, and SQL Server 2017. So we have to replace it whether we like it or not. So the solution that we found is MS Forefront by Houston Engineering. And remember, I said that acronym would be relevant later. MS4 is in the name because this software is designed specifically for NPDES permittees, MS4 permittees, for permit compliance, which is what we are looking for. In addition to the inspection programs that are already tracked in PRISM, MS Forefront provides tracking for new programs and replaces multiple existing systems. So our IDDE, the spill response program, has a very specific schema that it has to be put in for reporting to the Department of Ecology. So in order to get it into that schema, we're having to put our IDDEs into Survey 123 and PRISM. And then we also are tracking our education and outreach events in an Excel spreadsheet. So all of those would now take place in MS Forefront, as there's an education and outreach module as well. So we're adding a new program that will be tracked in there. And then MS Forefront will also help with the new permit requirement of tracking the cost to develop and implement each NPDES program. This is a look at MS Forefront. MS Forefront is GIS integrated, which provides digital mapping of the public and private stormwater systems. So inspectors can easily identify incidents and inspections in the field and use GIS to trace where spills are occurring or where they might be coming from. There's a mobile workflow, which you can hardly see it, but the bottom is the mobile inspection forms. So this allows inspectors to enter inspections in the field using either their phones or tablets and send notices to property managers rather than having to come back into the office and enter the inspections. So it's a lot more efficient. And offline capabilities allow inspections to sync later if the connection is lost or if we're in an area with limited mobile coverage. MS Forefront is highly customizable. So any new inspection forms can be added or any inspection fields can be updated by in-house staff super easily, and the changes will be implemented immediately. So that allows us to keep up with ever-changing NPDES permit requirements. We have a ton of flexibility. If we have something else that we end up needing to track, we can just add it right there and have that going forward. And then it also provides simplified annual reporting. So our IDDEs are already in that schema that we need for reporting to ecology. So we can just import it directly into ecology's database. We can also build custom reports for data that we need frequently, such as the questions that, or the numbers that we'll need for the annual report. And then we're able to export any of the inspection or data fields that we have in there into a spreadsheet. So if we have questions that come up that we don't already have a report built for, we can manipulate those spreadsheets in order to get the answers that we need. In conclusion, MS Forefront by Houston Engineering is designed specifically for NPDES MS4 permittees. For compliance, it simplifies annual reporting, replaces multiple existing systems, and provides tracking for all existing inspection programs plus new programs. The GIS integration, mobile workflow, and offline capabilities means more efficient inspection workflows. This allows us to have more time in the field, engaging with more customers, and inspecting more properties and having more of an impact on water quality. And the highly customizable workflows provides the flexibility to adapt to ever-changing NPDES permit requirements, so the system has longevity, and we hope it will last us a long time. That's all. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from my fellow council members? Yes, sir.
I'm sure you already looked into this. This feature doesn't exist in Amanda. Does this in that we purchased?
Someone help me out.
I'm guessing the requirements are different and different capabilities.
Good afternoon. Kelly Peterson, Deputy Public Works Director. The Amanda software is a permitting software. This one is a little bit different. It's very tailored very specifically to the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System and the work that the men and women in our NPDES program need to complete in order to protect water quality and ensure those very specific permit requirements are addressed in the NPDES municipal permit.
So in other words, this feature does not exist in Amanda.
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Almost like textbook. That sounds good. Thank you.
Really good.
They've already talked to some other agencies who are already using the program and know that it's going to be a tremendous help, not only the age of what we're using. We know last year that we got a bunch of new NPDES requirements that were handed to the cities to be that were required. So sounds like a very good and efficient way to be doing the work. Anyone else? In that case, I move to authorize the mayor to sign an equipment and hardware purchase, software license, and maintenance agreement with Houston Engineering, Inc., subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the IT director and city attorney.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from David Payne about Target Zero and an agreement action plan.
Okay, Council President, Council members, David Payne, City Transportation Planner with Public Works. On the Target Zero Action Plan, continuing our presentation from May 20th, hopefully on the path towards adoption. If you will indulge me a short presentation repeat of the May 20th presentation. On the screen, the adopted goal, one of the adopted goals from the Comprehensive Plan 2044 is a shared goal of the plan to aspire to eliminate traffic deaths and serious injuries with a reevaluation of progress in 2030. The principles of the plan, again, the shared principles of our local road safety plan on the left, safe system approach, and using a data-driven approach. The Target Zero Action Plan allows us to incorporate additional equity considerations and converts the plan into a multidisciplinary approach. Unfortunately, we've all learned the contributions to the traffic fatal and serious crash conditions we find are not engineering alone, and so this expands that approach into a multidisciplinary one. A key review of the key milestones that we've undertaken over the past year and a half. January 2024 with issues identification, May 2024 with discussing the data and identifying solutions, October identifying the priority project development for solutions, and then releasing the draft plan in February of this year. And again, the link to the public engagement online that we've held on the bottom of the slide. Summary of the engagement that we undertook. Over 750 contributions over the course of the year, both in person and virtual. A select number of the in-person events that we held there on the right. Very strong support from all of those that we engaged in with contributions, critical thinking, volunteering of solutions, good ideas from both businesses and the public. And we again want to thank all who participated and contributed to the plan, including our advisory group members. One of the distinguishing elements of the plan, similar to the region's safety action plan, which was adopted last month, was identifying a high injury network. So this expands on our local road safety plan by identifying systemic patterns of fatal and serious crashes and then drawing on what the similar contributing factors to those crashes are, so that we can then identify solutions and common elements for opportunities for improvement. So again, using the common characteristics of the high injury network, we look for the patterns of those crashes and then identify common opportunities to help mitigate those crashes. So the example we have on the screen are the three bundles of the projects, the similar projects types. And I'll use one example to illustrate the combination, but you'll see if you go through the details of the different bundles, there are strong similarities, overlapping solutions between the different, you'll find that there are common solutions across bundles. So again, building off of the common conditions of contributing factors, those lead to common countermeasures. So the example here to improve or to make for safer crossings for vulnerable road users. Again, these types of improvements are to mitigate, for example, areas where we find higher incidents of speeding, crashes that are happening more often at night, and either contributors or victims being under the influence. Then again, a sample of what the solutions would be for that particular bundle. We've included both engineering solutions and non-engineering solutions. The engineering solutions being the physical changes to the environment, changes to traffic control devices, and non-engineering solutions, examples being personal interactions, enforcement, driver education, information we saw and heard for the desire for additional solutions from the public. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions on the draft plan that council may have.
Okay, then if there are no questions, I move to adopt resolution number 2091, adopting the Kent Target Zero Action Plan.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, David. And now we're going to hear from Lucy Wu, also about Target Zero. I'm sorry, about the trip reduction program.
Good evening, council members. My name is Lucy, Transportation Planner with Public Works. And today I'll be giving an update on the commute trip reduction four-year plan, as well as a brief overview on the program itself. So commute trip reduction is also known as CTR, and I'll go a little bit into the context of the program with the law, the work sites that we work with, and the key metric we track, the drive alone rate, as well as the contents of the four-year plan. So the commute trip reduction law was adopted in 1991 as part of the Washington Clean Air Act, and it was developed to reduce greenhouse gases, improve air quality, reduce traffic congestion, and energy consumption. And the law affects worksites in Kent that have 100 or more full-time employees, and they're scheduled to arrive on the worksite or start work remotely at least 2 days out of the week between 6 to 9 a.m. And this is a map of the work sites in Kent that meet that criteria and are considered CTR affected. And that includes us here at the City of Kent as well. So this is an overview of the CTR program cycle. And the program is made up of several components. There are the requirements for the work sites, which include the survey and the program report. And there's also the CTR four-year plan. And the survey and program report are required every 2 years. So we have them alternating each year. Last fall, we conducted the survey, which was given to all the employees, and they answered questions about their commute habits. And then this year in 2025, we'll be administering the program report, which is given to a coordinator at each work site. And they fill out questions related to the commuter benefits they offer. And at the end of 2024, we also completed a draft of the CTR four-year plan. And this plan is updated every 4 years. So the next update will be in 2029. This slide shows a timeline for the plan itself. So after we surveyed, we also conducted outreach around the plan at in-person tabling events and also online. So the screenshot on the right shows the project website that the plan was uploaded on so that people could review it and leave feedback. And the draft plan was completed in December 2024. And it was approved by WashDOT earlier this year in February. Our requested council adoption date will be at the next Committee of the Whole meeting on June 17th. So one of the key metrics as part of the CTR program is the drive alone rate. And this is the rate that the affected employees at every work site, the rate that they drive alone, the percentage of employees that drive alone. So for Kent, that's 69%. And that would mean 31% of employees take alternative modes. You can also see how it compares to the neighboring cities. And the higher 69% for Kent is likely due to there being more manufacturing and industrial jobs. So how we captured that drive alone rate is through the surveying that I mentioned previously. So we surveyed with 8 different work sites this past fall, and this picture on the right is us at Amazon at their fulfillment center. So we were able to collect all those responses and the data from the surveys at these 8 work sites, and you can see that 5 of the work sites did meet the goal. They were under the 69%. The remaining 3 did not meet the goal. They're over 69%, and it's a little hard to see, but there's a light gray square from work sites 9 to 15, and those work sites did not participate in the survey, but we'll continue to work with them in the future and the upcoming CTR program cycle. And then this dark gray square here represents the work sites that have opted out of the survey and the program. So if they would like to participate in the future, we'd be happy to assist them. And this brings us to the 4-year plan. I'll share some of the contents of the plan. The first section of the plan describes the benefits of CTR and the transportation services available to residents and employees at Kent. That includes the Sounder train, the van pool program offered by King County Metro, and also the commuting patterns, how they've changed throughout the years, particularly with the pandemic. Telecommuting is on the rise, but despite that, transit ridership has stayed strong in Kent during and continuing past the pandemic. The next section, performance targets, confirms the 69% drive alone rate goal recommended by WashDOT, and in the subsequent plans, we'll be updating the plans to include information and data from the surveys. Then the services and strategies section outlines the strategies that we'll be taking to work with the work sites on the CTR program, including in-person outreach, offering incentives, providing resources and education for the work sites. It also goes into some of the challenges that we face, such as language barriers and translation services, buy-in and support from the work sites, and the lack of access to the alternative modes here in Kent as well. Alignment of plans, we focus on the Kent Comprehensive Plan and the King County Metro Strategic Plan and how that aligns with the CTR plan. The comprehensive plan describes the land use and transportation connection, and the strategic plan describes the services that Metro offers and how those impact Kent. And lastly, we have an engagement section in the CTR plan, which describes the outreach and engagement we did with the general public, community members and community organizations, and advisory boards. And this is a photo of us me at Kent YMCA Community Day, getting feedback on the plan. And that is all I have. Happy to take any questions. Thank you.
From my council members.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Fincher. And with that, we are at the end of our meeting. We will adjourn right now, and we'll be back again at 5:15 for council workshop. Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to Kansas City Council Workshop for Tuesday, June 3, 2025. We have 2 items on our agenda today. Thank you. All right, we have 2 items on our agenda today. First is Teacher Training Report, Bill Ellis and Cam Yee. Welcome.
Council, thank you, Council President. I'm here joined by some friends from the University of Washington, Green River College, and Kent School District. A couple of years ago, I was here before with Tyann Chang and Christy Morganson. Tyann Chang is the Director of Continuing Education, Dean of Continuing Education at Green River College, and Christy Morganson, who I will hand it off to next, is the Director of the Department of Aeronautics and Astronautics, and which oversees the Washington Space Consortium, a NASA effort at the University of Washington to foster STEM. And we, all of you, sponsored a program that they're here to report on the conclusions of 2 years later to help create professional development and curriculum within the Kent School District around space science, and do so with credit from the Green River College. So I'm going to turn over to Christy Morganson, who will report out on the results of the project. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bill. And thank you all for this opportunity to come and chat with you and show some of the things that have been going on with the teacher cohort here in the Kent School District. So as Bill said, I'm Christy Morganson. I am a faculty member at the University of Washington, and I think I can operate this. And so I mostly just helped run the program. Really all of the teachers, and we're missing a couple of them, joined us for a couple of summers, built out curriculum, and then deployed it in their classrooms. And so these are middle school teachers, and we've got 3 different applications we'll talk about that they worked on. So these were in 4 different middle schools. So the Kent School District, Canyon Ridge, Cedar Heights, Meeker, and Meridian Middle Schools. You all interacted and deployed materials to 749 of the middle school students and got 60 robotics kits out into the classroom. There we go. Okay, great. And then we do have some photos of action. So this one right here, one of the graduate students from the University of Washington who worked with the teachers also went into some of the classrooms to talk to the students, to do some mentoring and work on activities. So this is one of them here. And then the first of our topics, Erica was not able to be here this evening, so I am going to pretend a little bit that I'm Erica and say a bit about what she did with her, one of her modules. So this is some material that she developed for 6th grade students in their science curriculum around the use of remote sensing to track volcano activity here in the Northwest. So it is localized to the Northwest, very timely topic for all of us with volcanoes. And so what they looked at was learning about different kinds of imaging technology that is all based in satellites that are up in the orbit. So 4 different uses here. So INSAR technology, I'm sorry, that font's a little small. So this is ground deformations using radar wavelengths. So they got to learn about a bunch of things there. There's some additional slides here that I'll talk through for each of those. And then thermal imaging, gas monitoring, and then the GOES West coverage system. So the INSAR technology, so this one here is looking at ground deformation, which is one of the things that are sensed, and other kinds of technology that are used for that. I don't actually know if you talked about it. I'm going to say a little bit more. But used to be we'd go out and deploy sensors around all the volcanoes, and then, you know, they send back information until the volcano erupts, and then you lose your technology. So the satellite-based stuff is nice because it doesn't go away. And then thermal imaging on the next one, so different kind of technology up in satellites, showing what some of the results are there. This is for Mount St. Helens. And then monitoring for gas emissions. So this is actually one of the European satellites. And then fourth one is the monitoring system for the entire Cascade Range is this GOES West monitoring network, which thank you, NOAA, for providing that access. All right, so I'm going to stop there. I'm afraid I can't really say more about what the students did, unfortunately, but I will hand it over to our next teacher, Niraj.
This is?
Yeah, that goes forward. Okay.
Hello, I am Niraj Agnihotri. I'm a science and robotics teacher at Meeker Middle School, and this is my 7th year of teaching there. Next year will be 8th year, 17 year in teaching. So I said Arduino, I was thinking we are going to do it. So this is something I added pictures, lots of pictures, because I really want you to see how the action, how the classes they are going on in middle school. So we did use Arduino, and we used Lego Spike. So this is my robotics in action, and we used Lego Spike, Arduinos, and Arduino is one of why I choose Arduino, because I feel like Arduino is something that I was struggling before when I started. I moved from India like now 11 years before, and I started teaching here. I was a science teacher. I was thinking I'm expert in science, but I was not expert in robotics. So I learned, and then I feel like Arduino was something that I need to learn. And when this program started, then I joined, and I was able to build that confidence to teach the kids those. So that's why I chose, and that's my classroom. So I was able to, by connecting with this program, my student, and that is my classroom. So I was able to invite students, because my school is a Title I school, and it's good to students, they need to see themselves when some professionals they came. So I was able to invite Reagan, one of the scholars from University of Washington, and we were able to connect with the Avela group of University of Washington. I took kids there. They did lots of hands-on activities, and that we participated in the first Washington this year. And we were able to, students, they utilize the learning of the Lego Spike and applied there. And what else we did? Okay, I added pictures. So, and this is my inclusive ed students. So we are unified. This is my 2nd year participating in unified robotics too. So last year we only participated 3 teams. This year we participated 6 teams, and we were able to earn 6 different prizes this year. And you can see we used variety of different things. Students, they learned variety of things, and then I just apply what I have learned previous, and within these 2 years, and I applied here. And we did used, yeah, so these are all robotics, these are Avela group students, they learn more stuff. And with I added 2 of my pictures. I was get recognized by I was by Washington Education Association as Human and Civil Rights Award this year, and also I was a Teacher of the Year for. Oh my God. Yeah, I was. It's basically the CTE Teacher of the Year, and yeah, in one of the conference. Thank you. I think that's something I shared. Yeah, I like to add pictures because it's good to share what the kids they are doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Laura Lyons, and I teach at Meridian Middle School. And right now in our robotics class, my students are trying to build a space probe to go to an exoplanet. And one of the things they're trying to make is a CubeSat to hold their navigation equipment. And then they're going to model their spacecraft over, similar to NASA type spacecrafts that they have for different planets. But during the UW program, I learned a great deal. I learned how to launch rockets, and I've done the regular rockets and then the Big Daddy rockets with my robotics kids and also with my engineering club after school. And we're doing that on campus with the principal's permission. The kids love it, and then we were able to tie that to Newton's second law of motion. We also did this with VEX parts, and also VEX is a different robotic system, but this one is Lego Spike. And so what the kids do is they try to pick up different objects with this grabber, and it's kind of like a Mars rover grabber type thing, where they go and get the samples of the rocks from the different planets. And they're based on how much mass it can hold, they can figure out how much force is applied by the motor. So it gets at Newton's second. And in my 6th grade classes, I teach 6th grade science. We're doing Arduino. We do a lot of engineering projects that have been really influenced by this experience. And I built the whole 6th grade curriculum around the International Space Station is what we planned on doing. And so the kids made a heat shield. There was like a zombie apocalypse, and they had to make a heat shield to come back to Earth from the International Space Station. So it was pretty cool, and the kids loved it. Anyway, this is what I'm working on right now in robotics, and then I plan to incorporate much more next year, and I'm going to try to apply for a STEM grant for my engineering club so that we can do even more and solve some practical problems. So this activity, they have to modify this using the pieces from the Spike kit to get it to grab stuff better. These intentionally aren't that great at grabbing stuff. So.
I'll try to make some modification to it.
Yeah, and then we just do a reflection on their engineering design and then connect it to the science standards. They calculate force using the masses they picked up and acceleration due to gravity.
Yeah, I know it. Like high school. Oh, you gotta work? Huh? That's cool. That made modification to it. That's so cool.
So this is what you see 3 years ago, I think 3.5 years, maybe almost 4 years ago, when we first talked about collaborations, when I first presented that there are multiple collaborations that we are hoping to foster. And then with your support and the seed money allow us to carry our 2 year. And when we proposed 2 year, I remember one of the questions was why 2 years? And we talk about professional development, implementation, come back and revise and continue, right? And I think I hope that you see that whatever you invested, it's worth of the investment, because now the 6th graders, 8th graders are looking at UW curriculum that they probably never had a chance to expose to. And we are going to continue carry that effort. The teachers will be teaching at Green River College Discovery Academy, which is open to general public. So we hope that, not only the school district students in their classroom can get benefit of this curriculum, but also more. And we're looking forward to explore it more. Like if there is any other opportunities that we can collaborate more, expand this program or finding new topics and to collaborate. Happy to come back and share, what other success that we'll be getting. So on the teacher side, they have a professional clock hours that's granted. That typically is granted through the Common Core district, not dominated, but, district directed curriculum. But this is the one that from teachers, from their own classrooms, that what they want to aim for. So it's classrooms that designed by the teachers for their own students related to the future industry. So this is our presentation. We just want to represent, Green River, UW, and Kent School District. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity and continue supporting us for that 3.5-year journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Neeraj. Congratulations. And Laura, thank you so much. This is great. I went to Meeker, but my kid went to Meridian, so it's great to see both of you here. And I think it's amazing that our kids are learning. And Bill, maybe you have an answer to this. What is next? Are we continuing this program, and what are we?
So this particular program is at an end, but since this program launched, we've also entered into a CTE partnership with the Kent School District, which we talk about professional development. And we have investment from the American Recovery Act funds that you've allocated to do more professional development with the teachers. So I think what we're going to continue to talk about with Tyann and others is how do we take what's already been seeded and delighted to see all the different things it's leading to within the school district, which was the intent, was to have teachers who can talk to other teachers and talk to students who could then become mentors to other students and stand up after school programs, the domino effect. But other ways that we can take the curriculums that are developed here locally, and then working with our friends at the Kent School District Administration, see if that can be something that can be replicated to more teacher professional development going forward. So we are doing some investment in professional development right now with Project Lead the Way. That might be amenable to alteration, to bring in some of the things that were independently created here and then become something that becomes a standard within the school district. I think one of the things that we're thinking about a lot, and I say we, I really mean the Kent School District right now, is thinking about the different touch points within a student's career before high school. From the ages of 5 to 16, how many times have they heard about aerospace? So even if you're teaching about Newton's laws, you're talking about it in the context of space and making it relevant to the industries that are in their own community. So that when those opportunities come up at a later point in high school, you can relate to other practical things, so that the math that you're learning is related to maybe a career path you have in your own town. And I think some of those reasons are why economic development was involved here in terms of sponsoring it. Of course, there's also just, it's really cool, and the fun of what you got to play with here or learn from in terms of putting the Mars rover grasper. So I think it's a good and wise investment, and I think the thing in terms of what's next is just continuing to push on the different things that we're doing with the school district more broadly than this specific project.
Yeah, and we are looking at for Green River College Discovery Academy, that's for middle school, high school, on career explorations during the summer. So each week that there's one track that they will be focusing on and experience what that might look like. Ultimate goal is to build kids in college experience, like on the college campus, and hopefully through the, get to see graduate students from UW, help them to see what is possible for their future. So that's our next step, is looking at our Discovery Academy, the portfolios of it, and then collaborate with the Kent School District CTE to see, what are the track so students can explore more. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I have some comments or questions here. Councilmember Boyce, followed by Councilmember Fincher.
Thank you, Madam President. UW, Green River, Kent School, what a phenomenal job. I mean, really, you guys have done some incredible work in just a short time period. And I know part of my question, what's next? So we had all these kids been in the program for X amount of years, right? So what I'm hearing is the program is going to kind of stop, right? And then we made such great progress. I feel like I think we want to continue to build on that with the kids and so on. A little more clarity on just kind of what else can we do so the kids won't lose where they're at and they can advance. And by the way, Molly and I was talking, we learned Newton Law as a high school probably, right? So they learn it at such a young age, but yeah, they're not. But just curious, what else can we do? I mean, it's just such great momentum here.
I mean, if there is more funding possibilities, you know, because teachers, when they take professional development, they take time away from their families, right? In the summer especially. So if there are fundings available, then we might be able to continue, you know, to run different cohorts. Christy and I talk about like how can we keep track of like different curriculums. For example, now we have 6th grade, 8th grade, but we didn't hit every like 10, 11, 12, right? So then how can we build other opportunities? So we build, if there are funding available, professional development for school district teachers, I think that's continue. Can we do some scholarship for students that might want to participate in Discovery Academy but not having the funding to support the children to be exposed to those curriculum and CTE track? I think there are actually many different other topics. I believe I only touched like 1% of Christy's portfolio. So if everything is possible, I think there's a lot more to figure out, you know, how can we connect things into the real world, to daily life for our, you know, K-12 students. Yeah.
Awesome job. Teachers are phenomenal.
Happy to bring back.
Yes, and congratulations to the Teacher of the Year. Awesome job.
Yeah.
I also want to share, like, being an immigrant.
Yep.
So it's, I have learned I have learned tremendous here because I can see the difference from India to here, like how important like students' concept clear is important here. Like in India, I feel like more rote memory. Right, but here I have seen like more concept clear, and we need to differentiate each. Like in my first year, in my first 6 months, I was just learning, and I was crying every day. I said, "Wow, what should I do? What should I do?" And after 6 months, I said, "Now I learn." Like, and my principal, and in these professional developments, they help us to develop more. And this coming year, based on what I have learned, I'm going to start my coding club, and I have robotics STEM club from the last 7 years that I'm running, and that's why I bring all my inclusive kids to the competition. So we are doing unified robotics from the last 2 years. And this year I want to start the coding for girls so that the girls should also, because when I see my robotics classes, I only see boys. I only see 3 or 4 girls, those they are here. Why? We need to bring that coding. So whatever I have learned, that I bring to my classes. And if we provide these professional development, there are lots of me-like people. Those they want to be there. Those they want to learn and bring that learning to their classroom. And in working in a Title I school, those kids need, and I feel like in our Kent School District, we have more than 70% of population that need that opportunities. So it would be great if we get more funding and we can bring more learning to the classrooms. And teachers, we are ready to learn, and we will bring that learning to our classrooms too.
Thank you so much. I can feel your passion, so thank you so much.
Councilmember Fincher.
Thank you. And mentioning, you know, yourself being an immigrant, I know that the school district itself, but Green River and Highline have a vast number of students who have come from other countries and learn great things right along with the rest of the kids there. So I have a question for you. How much is a kid? How much are your kids? There were like 60 kids, 500
about yes.
Okay, 500. So again, to that need for more funding. And then did you have something else to add to that?
Well,
you can talk to the mic.
I started out with 6 kits, but I told the CTE department that I needed a full class set. So they paid for the additional, so I had a total of 14 for 28 kids for 1 per pair of students. That way more kids are doing the hands-on and it's smaller groups.
Great. They're learning teamwork at that point also. Yeah. But it's just phenomenal is what Councilmember said, and I agree with him. So it is great seeing this. Thank you for bringing along the little aids here, and keep up the work. I mean, it would be great when we get to the day that every child in school can learn this, because not everybody can go to, you know, they can't join one of the robotics clubs out there, whether it be for transportation or whatever reason. So this is a great program. Thank you very much, and I look forward to what happens next. Since this one is done, what else is to come? Thank you.
Councilmember Larmer.
Thank you. This might be a question for Bill, but have we talked to our business partners? Have we talked to Blue Origin, Hexel, and Boeing?
About this specific project, no, but we had a meeting just yesterday of the Partnering with Government Committee. There's a variety of things that are talked about. We had a legislative breakfast, in fact, last week with, we had 20 CEOs from the Kent Valley joined that, and a lot of the education leaders, including Israel Vela, superintendent of the Kent School District, was there, and Renton School District, CTE. So there's a lot of other conversations that are going on, apart from this one specific project about professional development, about things that are pressure points on CTE. And so there is discussion about what should requests for funding look like, particular to education. I can't say more than that because I think that's as far as the conversation is at this point, but I would say stay tuned.
You take the little grabby thing and put it at the table with the CEOs.
Figure this out.
To figure this out. I mean, there is other conversations too with Washington First Robotics. I can't help but bring them up based here in Kent, with Kent Youth Family Services and with YMCA. They're looking to try to do more pilot projects. They've lost some federal funding around trying to expand their programs into the Kent School District and hire more robotics teams. So I'm meeting with them Thursday to talk about funding opportunities as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of funding challenges always. However, there are always more that we can try to figure out. And I think this was an investment, again, that was to sort of spark enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think mission accomplished on that score.
For sure.
And we do have from the city, at least through 2026, and then we'll have to talk again, additional funding, several $100,000 in for professional development with the Kent School District, specifically around STEM. And with, we should probably get a report out to you from John Rissmiller, and he's the CTE coordinator, science coordinator, STEM coordinator, who's part of the CTE group that's overseen by Carol Cleveland at the Kent School District, and give a report out on that work, which has a longer runway than this particular project, but I'm pleased to see the enthusiasm that this generates, because that was part of the objective, just the coolness of the space, and then how does that open up a larger conversation about what should we be investing in. So thank you.
Thank you, Bill, and I think my colleagues have all said it, the same thing. This was very exciting to watch and learn and listen, and I think there's a need, and I just hope we are able to continue this without losing the momentum, and partnering with school district in whatever way possible, and hopefully they're able to move this forward so we have this in all the schools and all grades and kids have access. So
I will invite the Kent School District back to talk. It was back in March we talked, I think, last about that at the council, so I'll bring them back for a workshop on that.
all right, any other comments or questions? All right, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you. We appreciate you. All right, next up we have tree-related update, and we have Lindsay Walker. Welcome.
Hello. So I'm Lindsay Walker. I'm a planner in economic and community development, but I'm also actually a certified arborist, so I'm really excited to be bringing this topic to you tonight. So the goals for tonight's meeting, we're going to have talk a little bit about what we've been doing, where we're at, and we really want to discuss the goals and next steps and where we want to take this. So we know there's many benefits to trees in our community, most notably the mitigation of the urban heat island effect through shading and transpiration, and reducing stormwater runoff and improving air and water quality. 2 years ago, we heard that there was some interest in assessing how we balance our tree regulations to provide a desirable number of trees and strategies to retain our existing mature trees within the city of Kent. We've kept this in the forefront of our internal discussions, so we were able to include some goals focused on trees this year in our comprehensive plan, which, as you know, sets the framework for our development standards. We've also been exploring incentives for protecting trees within our middle housing codes, which I know you've been recently discussing, and we'll be continuing those type of conversations throughout the year. So the city has studied our canopy, and we're currently in the process of completing an updated canopy study, which is being facilitated by the King County Conservation District based on 2023 aerials. What we have right now is based on 2017 imagery, and from that information, we know we had a 28% canopy coverage citywide, with 48% of that being contained within low-density residential areas. So that means almost half of our canopy is contained within 4.6 square miles out of Kent's 34 square miles. If we decide to make some updates, we really need a metric or a goal for a successful outcome to either increase or maintain our canopy. That's the main topic we want to discuss tonight. When looking at surrounding jurisdictions, our 2017 coverage is consistent with our closest neighbors like Renton and Des Moines. We should also keep in mind that a quarter of our land area is zoned for industrial use. So Tacoma, Kirkland, Tukwila, and Bellevue have all published and adopted canopy coverage goal, which is pretty standard in urban jurisdictions. So that's a little background information of where we've been at. About a year ago, the county performed an assessment on tree regulations on private residential property that identified 4 levels of regulations, from limited, which is considered a level 1, to comprehensive, which is a level 4. So according to the King County's Guide to Developing Effective Urban Tree Regulations on Private Residential Lands, the city of Kent is considered as having a level 3, which is moderate regulations. So this is based on our current regulations, which requires 20 tree credits per acre for new subdivisions and short plats and restricts removals from undeveloped property in critical areas. So this is an assessment of how the code is written, but not necessarily how effective it is or how it's administered. So what did we do with this information? We conducted interviews with multiple jurisdictions around King County, including our closest neighbors, and we also conducted interviews with jurisdictions that were rated as having a comprehensive tree code by King County. We wanted to see what they're doing, how they're administering their codes, and what their goals were. We've also spoke with multiple jurisdictions outside of Washington to see how they've been handling balancing their canopy goals with middle housing initiatives. Oregon passed their middle housing regulations in 2020, so we're able to talk to Portland and other cities and get some feedback based on their experience. So as I mentioned earlier, King County is working on updating canopy studies across the county based on 2023 data. We got some preliminary results recently, and based on the aerials, there does appear to be an increase in canopy in Kent from 2017 to 2023. So areas in pink, which may be hard to tell on this map, but it follows the eye line right around here. Oh, it looks a little bit better on that color. And then, so pink shows where there's been a decrease, so that follows where the eye line is in Midway, along West Meeker, right along there, and then up near 167. The darker the green shows the more canopy based on these aerials. We don't have any percentages, facts, or figures yet, but that's in the works, and we're hoping to get that information in the next month or so. And then we'll get more canopy detail, similar to the report we got in 2017. So for our next step, we want to determine how to move forward. Should we adopt a canopy coverage goals like some of those other jurisdictions? Do we want more information to consider for strengthening our codes? And are you interested in what it would take to reach a level 4 in King County's assessments? So this is really just an introduction to kind of see where we should go from here. So in a few weeks, potentially even in July, we should have more detailed results in our latest canopy study, and we can determine, how to set a baseline. Canopy is typically assessed every 5 to 7 years, so any actions we decide to take in the future can be assessed to see if we're meeting any goals or metrics. Our goal today is to get your feedback on how we should proceed on this subject. So that does conclude my presentation. If you guys have any questions for me, and we can discuss if you would like to set a goal.
Councilmember Larmer.
Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. This is a topic I've been anxious to talk about for quite a while. Actually, when I joined council in 2018. Sorry, let me start over. This is something I've been anxious to talk about for quite a while. When I joined the council in 2018,
I believe it was the year before, perhaps that year, there was a tree study. Did you guys reference that in this?
Yes.
I'd be really curious how, any canopy mapping or how anything has changed between that and now.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the preliminary results is mapping based on the 2017 aerials to now, which is hard to tell in this, but hopefully the next month we'll get that updated report. I know Planet Geo did our last one, and they are working with a lot of jurisdictions for these maps. So that actually gives us facts and figures, percentages, and numbers.
So this map is comparing the 2017 to the 2023?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Great. Okay, I think that helps. And as far as the goal, I mean, I definitely, absolutely would like us to set a goal, and I think there's no reason we couldn't, my aspiration for us would be to be in that level for,
Thank you.
Councilmember Troutner.
Thank you, Madam President. I think I can agree. I think setting a goal would be the right opportunity. I see it says you interviewed almost all level 4 cities. And I'd be curious, because I know I have talked to some staff that that has created issues with some cities. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and we have a lot of information that we're hoping to present in a later presentation, just a lot more than we could do for an introduction. But there's just different approaches across the board. I know there's been a lot of struggles with some meeting labor. There's struggles with middle housing and some people even using tree codes against middle housing. So we can definitely compile more information and package it together so we can learn from it.
Councilmember Michaud, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you so much for this presentation, Lindsay. I think a good starting spot is to have this goal to increase our tree canopy by X, whatever, we decide. And so as we progress, if we all agree to come up with a goal, I think we need to look at more than just the private property regulations. We need to see what the city is doing with our own property as well. And if we have a goal, that will mean that we can have various ways, we can look at the various ways to increase the canopy coverage, and that doesn't just include putting regulations on private property owners to prevent them from cutting down trees. It can also include things such as planting trees and, having Public Works put more trees out there, whatever. It can mean a whole bunch of different things, not just having these strict regulations that require staff time and money and all that bad stuff. So,
thank you.
Councilmember Fincher.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm in complete agreement with Councilmember Michaud. And I'll add to that along with the tree planting, we know that Parks does tree planting, but some of the schools have heard that the numbers are going down, but organizations like King Conservation District and some of the other organizations will actually offer seedlings to groups, not only to schools, but to groups to be able to plant. So being able to marry where there is space to plant those trees, and even for individuals in their yard, but to be able to have the trees, we can see that there's some areas that are starkly missing trees. We know that we're a heat island, so not only, the fact that it helps clean our air, helps clean our water, it helps improve our life in many ways.
That's great. It's great there's programs too.
So, Lindsay, I have a question, sort of a question and a comment. So, on this, I see that light pink next to the industrial area. Do you know what kind of happened there, or is there something that went up, development?
Sorry, in what area?
The pink up north next to that one.
That's the one I could not figure, and I'm wondering if there was any type of work done along 167th, because I've kind of gone back through the aerials. But that, I'm hoping once we get more details from the updated canopy, it can actually target where that loss was from.
And we see that there's most of East Hill has had positive change.
Correct, yes.
So,
Yeah, and so even with the industrial valley and other areas, that is a lighter green. So that still shows an increase, just the darker green shows a significant higher increase.
Oh, is that supposed to be lighter green? Because I can't tell.
Yeah, it doesn't show up too well on the screen.
And then there's net neutral areas. Okay. And my, not question, I guess. That was the question. But then I think, seems like a 40% is the goal that most of the cities are kind of going for.
So I know some of the cities north and east of Seattle have that goal. Most around our area don't have it quite at 40%. I see the Bellevue's at 40% in Kirkland. I'm thinking once we get this canopy study back, and I can come back, we can get the actual facts and figures, and from there decide what a good target would be and what's realistic.
And can you touch on the conversation we had a few weeks ago where we had conversation about 3 foot versus preserving trees or diameter of the trees? I think Councilmember Larmer.
Yeah, based on the King County.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
based on the King County guidance on, it has to do with the diameter of the tree.
I think Kristen was actually here for
preservation.
that.
Sure. Are we talking about the initiative for middle housing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So I think we have that written in the draft code still about you'll get incentives for if you maintain the existing home or maintain I think it was an 18-inch tree, which can allow for additional housing.
And I think there's a couple, Councilmember Larmer followed by Michaud, please.
Yeah, so I'm curious, Lindsay, in your research and talking to the other cities, we can incentivize through our code for development, but I'm curious if there's anybody incentivizing businesses to replant. Like there's a lot of, I see like kind of empty spaces in parking lots. Like, is anybody incentivizing businesses to plant a tree?
Sure. So the goals in our interviews was really focused on private residential property, but we have all those contacts. We can go back to them and ask. I know a lot of people use their parking standards. Like even with us, we have parking islands required to have trees at a certain percentage. And so that's what most jurisdictions use for commercial development, but I can certainly go back and see if there's any incentives that they're offering for commercial.
Yeah, because I think, we have a lot of development that took place, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So how do we incentivize those already developed to, I see a lot of street corners where obviously, commercial's gone in 20 years ago and they stripped everything out. But there's like more than adequate space for some canopy.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Councilor Michaud.
Thank you, Madam President. Back to the goals that we're talking about. Obviously, we don't know yet what our canopy coverage is, but Councilmember Larmer and I, before this meeting, were looking at, there's an online tool where you can see like how many trees it would require to increase even by 10% just in one little area. I mean, that can be thousands of trees, so we just have to be really careful. We can't just say, oh, let's go to 40%, because that could mean we need to plant 50,000 trees or something.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilmember Fincher.
Thank you. And again, doing some sort of value for one tree over another one, because we know some are needed more, some are actually serve a better purpose than others. But also remembering when we're talking mainly residents, but also buildings who are doing landscaping, that there's things they can do in their yard. They can sand set stones. If they're laying a patio, they could sand set stones versus just laying a big slab. There's the type of plants that they're putting in. All of those things help. And so looking at the tree canopy, that there's more that they can do, not to just stop there, and also what they're putting around that tree at the base of it is important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for Lindsay? All right. Looks like it's something we'll have to wait and see when we get more information. And
thank you all.
Thank you, Lindsay. With that, we are adjourned.